Prime Minister, you say you want this to be the last lockdown, but can you really give that guarantee given the unpredictable nature of this pandemic? And does that mean we're looking at a very gradual easing of restrictions? Should we rule out get-togethers and getaways at Easter, for example?
Alex, no, I can't give that guarantee. Of course not, because we're battling with nature, with a disease that is capable of mutating and changing. I'm increasingly confident. I'm increasingly optimistic about the sheer extent of the possibilities that are opening up with vaccinations. I'll be setting out as much of a timetable as we can give on the 22nd, and I'm very hopeful that we'll be able to go ahead and open things up, and I'll be saying that. But to say I can give an absolute cast iron guarantee that we won't face further difficulties and have to think harder and deeper about some problems, no, Alex, at this stage I can't. But I don't want people to think that I'm not optimistic. I think there's been a big change, and the big change is that science is now unquestionably in the ascendancy over the disease, and that's manifested in all sorts of ways, not just through vaccination, but also with better therapies, and they're getting better the whole time. So, people should be very, very much encouraged by what's going on at the moment, but we want to set out a timetable that is realistic, and that means one that is obviously cautious and takes account of the real state of the pandemic.
Firstly, on the general point about the vaccines, the effect of this, as I tried to lay out right at the beginning, will build. So people's first vaccines, second vaccines, then everyone they meet being vaccinated, and the whole population being vaccinated. In the longer term, we hope the whole world being vaccinated, because it has been repeatedly said and rightly said that no one is safe until everyone is safe. But what that means is the risk will gradually go down. So it won't suddenly move from you having to do everything to nothing. This is going to be gradually, little by little, we will de-risk it. And other bits of medical science, like improved treatment, positive trial results last week, for example, really excellent news about tocilizumab. The effects of all of these together will gradually reduce the risk of this, but whether it'll get it down to the point where it's zero for all time, or whether it'll take it down to a very low level where there's some residual risk, or a level where very occasionally we have to do things in particular points in the season, for example, I think it's too early to say. Clearly, the hope is we get to a point where the minimum effort is used by things like any kind of social distancing, and by far the majority or all of the heavy lifting is done by vaccination, drugs, and the basic things like washing hands, which people should be doing anyway.
What's the name of that drug again, Chris?
Tocilizumab.
Say again?
Tocilizumab.
We're going to get this right. Is it toxilumab?
Near enough, PM.
Something like that. Okay, this is the one we've got to make sure we get this right.
Tocilizumab.
Tocilizumab, there you go. Okay, we're going to have to know that as well as we know dexamethasone. Tocilizumab, folks, that's the one. And that helps to drive down mortality as well.
On top of the steroids already, another very good trial done here in the UK, thanks to the NHS and the National Institute for Health Research, NIHR.
Tocilizumab. Okay, good, thank you.
At the current rate, we could vaccinate everyone over 50 by the end of March and still stay on track with second doses. But the target date is the end of April. Why is this? Do you expect a slowdown in the rollout?
Two things. The first thing is, as you pointed out, as well as opening up the invitations to more than 14 million new people in England in the groups that we're now talking about, we've also got the second doses to administer for those who've had their first dose. And when we look at the likely vaccine supply that we will have available to us between now and the end of April, that appears to be what we can do. If supply increases, then we think we can go faster. But that at the moment represents still a doubling of the number of vaccines delivered over the next 10 or 11 weeks compared to those that have been delivered over the last 10 weeks. So it's a pretty substantial ramp up in this second sprint that we're about to embark on.
Thank you.